All right, what is up, guys? So I just want to do a quick video on there's four different positions that appear to be just I don't know, misrecognized or just people don't know about it when it comes to weapon manipulation. To get into this, I'm just going to say the position that I am in right now where my weapon is pointed up is called a high port. High port, okay? My weapon is pointed up and out of the way. High port. When my weapon is like this is called a high ready. High ready, okay? Because my weapon is up high and I'm ready for anything. Whatever comes at me, I'm ready for. This is called a low ready. The reason it's called a low ready is because it is the weapon is lower. It is just below eye level, but I am still ready to engage whatever is in front of me. If some dude came out of this corner right now, running out of this doorway, I could still engage him. Okay? This is called a low port. Low port. Okay. So low port, high port, high ready, low ready. Okay. Now, the distinction between them, I will explain. So if we're stacked up on this door, right, everything else is good. Everything else is covered, whatever. All we got to do is focus on this door. I came in, I'm the pinner. I'm going to open the door. The pinner is the guy that opens the door. Plain, that's just as easy as it gets. Pinner opens the door. So I'm going to swing the door. So I'm at a low ready. The reason I'm at a low ready is because my weapon is in front of me. It is angled at the direction that I am going. I am prepared to fire it if I need to. If there was somebody right here, as soon as I open that door, I could engage them without aiming down my sights. I mean, the dude's 5 feet away. I could start throwing rounds, transition to my sight, and continue to shoot. Now we're going to start our movement into the room. Now I have a short wall, okay? A short wall basically just means I ain't got a lot of fucking work to do, okay? My corner is short. I basically have it all covered right here besides what's behind the door. So he's going to take point. This guy right here, the imaginary guy, he's going to take point. So he's going to go in first. So I'm going to let him know, hey, short wall, I'm going to raise my gun up, give him a little barrel nod, whatever. He knows he's going in. He takes point. He goes in. As soon as he passes me, I'll lower my weapon and move in. And then I'll stand at the back of this door, plugging it with my foot, pushing on it, making sure nobody can fucking close it on me and pop up and start shooting me in the back. And then once this is pretty clear, I'm going to check behind the door. Now, the other thing that you could do, same thing. Hey, I'm going to let this guy know that he's going first. I'm going to go to a low port. Let him know, just by me dropping my gun, lets him know, hey, he's going fucking first. I ain't got a lot of work. I told you I got a short wall. There ain't nothing here. It's your turn. What's the difference between the high ready and low ready? The reason that you would go into a low ready while clearing a structure is for your sight. Your sight, as in your eyes, okay? The information that you can process. When you're like this, and the game does not depict it as it should be, as it is in real life, okay? But when you're like this, your right eye is right on that red dot. There is very little information that your right eye is gaining outside of your sight picture. Now, you should train if you're shooting in a fashion that is for CQB or CQC, whatever you want to call it, close quarter battle, close quarter combat, or semi-close proximity shooting. Then yeah, you should train with shooting with both eyes open. Other than sniping, you know what I mean, where you're sitting 600, 700, 800 meters away from somebody, even 100 meters away from somebody. It might be challenging to hit them with both eyes open, and you might go down to single eye shooting. So you're going to have a lot less peripheral vision with your right eye and a lot less attention to detail to anything happening on the right side of your peripheral vision. And your left eye is still semi-focused on, not the dot, because it can't really see the dot, but it's still semi-focused in the direction that your dot's pointing. You can still see out of your peripherals, though, okay? You could still catch movement. But if you're at a low ready and you're scanning, as you should be while clearing a structure, you can pick up so much more than if you're like this through the entire structure. Okay, I promise you, because all you're focusing on is that on that red dot. That's pretty much what you're focusing on when you have this sight up. Okay, when you're like this, now you're focusing on what's above the sight. Okay. This game is kind of tame though when it comes to the high port. So like this right here, this high port, if my guy in front of me that was going to go first is like 6 foot or taller, this barrel's pretty much going to be right at his head when he makes entry. You know what I mean? So really your high port would pretty much kind of be something like that, where it's basically it's pointing above the door frame. Because again, right here, I mean, my barrel's gonna be pointing right at that dude's face. It'd be more aligned with something like that. Is what your high port would be. And so I typically use the low port. Okay, and the reason for that is because my sling, my retention system, when you're in a CQB, CQC environment, you need to keep retention of your weapon system at a high priority. My sling, I can do a high port, but it is a lot easier and comfortable. And also I just train low port so much that it's just second nature to just do low port. I still can do high port and I still have used high port, and they both have their uses. So I'm not saying one's better than the other or anything. I just typically use low port. That's it. And it's also shown through data, some quasi scientific testing, that the high port does give a slight millisecond advantage when coming back to aim down on sights than the low port. Now again, it also comes down to how comfortable you are, because I am faster going from a low port to aim down sights than I am going from a high port to aim down sights. And my retention system could also be a part of that, as well as just not being as comfortable with it. You know, I they both do the same thing. The high port and the low port are used for movements and to not flag your buddy. That's it. That's why there should not be an issue with, well, you should high port, you should do low port, whatever. There's not an issue with that. Those are for movements and not to flag your buddy. Okay. Now, the only thing that I will say that there is an issue with and that you should not do is you should not be clearing a structure like this. This is the only thing I will say you absolutely should not be doing. You should not be running through a house, staring at your red dot the entire time doing this silly shit. Okay? That's it. You got a low ready. Target presents itself. You aim down sights. You get on them, show me your hands, whatever the case is. Come to me, whatever. But until you see a threat or a perceived threat, you should be at the low ready. So other than that, guys, that's all I got. I just want to touch on that real quick because it's just, I don't know, I see it so many times where individuals are saying this is a high ready and this is a low ready. And my only question to that is, what are you ready for? What are you ready for? If a guy came through that door right now, what are you ready for? If a guy trying to shoot you right now came through that door, what are you ready for? If a guy came through that door right now, what are you ready for? Now I'll ask you the same question. If a guy came through that door right now, what are you ready for? Same question. If a guy came through that door right now, what are you ready for? That's what I'm ready for. You're not ready for anything like this. You're not ready for anything like this. You are like this, and you are like this. So, high port, high ready, low ready, low port. All right, that's all I got, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was somewhat informational, and you can kind of take away something from it. And again, I'm not knocking. I want to make it very clear. I'm not knocking the high port or the low port. I typically use the low port. There are also environmental issues with using the high port that you can run into. If you're 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and now you have a rifle with another extra 2 to 3, 4 inches above your head because you're in a high port, you're at like 6'8", 6'9", and you have to account for that. Most door frames are not 6'5", 6'8", 6'9", whatever. So you have to account for that while moving through structures, as well as like going downstairs, upstairs, the angle and the height of the ceilings there, because typically going into an attic or a stairwell, much more cramped spaces, as in the ceiling and the walls. So you could have, 3 feet of width going up an attic, and the ceiling above you is 5.5 feet tall, to where you're basically like crouch walking up these stairs to clear the attic. Okay. You can run into those issues where you can't do a high port in that situation. It's easier to just do a low port, keep your weapon system close to you, and move up the stairs. Again, they both have their takeaways, they both have their pros and cons. Not negating either of them. They're both used for the same purpose: movement and to not flag your buddy. The only thing I will say, this is important. This is the low ready. This is the high ready. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one.